Hello, in this video I'm going to look at using the Trimble M3 total station. So, first thing you need to do when you use a total station is set it up over a station point. You need to level the total station and you need to set up exactly over a control point. So if you look here, you can see that in the electronic level at the moment, and I have leveled up the total station and I have it over an existing point. If I move the camera down, you can see this particular total station has a vertical laser plummet and we have that on a point. Now I'm doing this presentation indoors, so you can imagine that if I was outside I would be set up over a nail on the ground, and that's my control point. To set up the total station we need to view another control point. I'm just going to accept that. The next screen is confirming the atmospheric conditions, so if the temperature is different as is shown here, you can change that, and the pressure as well. So that will apply a correction to the measured lens. So that's okay, I'm going to accept that. Horizontal, vertical, okay. So before we go measure, we need to set up the total station and set up a new job. So I'm just going to escape out of this into the main screen and go into files, and you can open up an existing job or you can create a new job. To create a new job, we go new job, give it a name. Over here on the side you have a little pad. If you click this button up here, you can switch from numbers to letters. Right, so I'm giving it a name. I'm calling it Topo, or that should be Topo. I'll just go back on that. Topo. So I want to call it Topo, and I normally give it the date. I give today's date as well. So that's my job name. In here now, we can if you click on here, you can change the scale factor. That's okay. Escape out of that, and you set your units. So we're going to work in meters here. You can switch to imperial. You can set up this. We have temperature displayed to the nearest millimeter. All that seems okay. There's a little button there, brings you on to the next page. Millimeter mercury, coordinate order, easting, northing elevation, you can change that if you wish. Your stationing, you can switch to your preferred stationing if you wish. Area, that's all okay, accept. Accept. Okay, this file already exists. No, I'm going to change the name. Yeah. Okay, so I'll give it a different name because that file name already exists. I'll go enter, accept. Okay, you can see your file name up here now. So we've created the file name. Next thing I want to do is set up the total station. So we'll go survey, and it's given me these 4 different options for setting it up. The most normal way to set up a total station is to set up over a point and sight on to another point. So that's what I'm going to do here. So to do that, we go station setup. It's reconfirming the conditions again, that's okay, accept. And now we give it this point a name, so we would normally go 101 for that. We'll give it a code. Yeah. Alright, so that's the CP I've put in there. That stands for control point, or you could put in STN station either. Instrument height, so that's the height of the instrument set up at. I've measured that, and that's what it is. There's a little mark on the side of the instrument, so you measure the height of the station on the ground. We'll go, and next we have to input coordinates for this point. Now, if you have coordinates, if this is an existing continuation of an existing survey, you will have particular coordinates for this point. If it's a brand new survey and we don't have coordinates for it, you can just assign arbitrary coordinates to that. I'd normally go 1000 for the easting, 1000 for the northing, and 100 for the elevation. Enter. It's a control point, accept. Now to set up the total station, we need to backsight onto another point. So you need to set up another nail in the ground and give that a name. So we'll go 102 for this. We're on 101. Code. We'll go CP as well. Now the backside height refers to the height that the target is set at. If you look over here on the side, you can see that I'm in target mode at the moment, which means I'm going to sight on to the prism on top of the stick. So we need to input a height for that. If you click on there where it says height, you can type in the height for that. Okay, so I've measured that, and that's what I'm going to put in for my target height. That's the height the target is on the stick. You need to manually measure that. The prism constant needs to be input as well. Depending on the prism that you're using, it'll have a specific constant. So for this particular prism, that's 0, so that's okay. Enter. Accept. Now, if you click on here, with this particular total station, you have the option of using a target or the target DR, which stands for direct reflector, which is targetless, so it uses the laser on its own. So you can sight on to a solid surface, like concrete, for example, without using a target, which is very handy when doing surveys. So to switch to target mode, you go hit there and go DR. Okay, so I'm set up here in the office, and then I don't have a prism. I'm going to use DR mode to set it up. But if you're outside, out in the field, you would most likely use a prism there to set this up. Backside height is going to be 0 because I'm in DR mode. I'm not using the prism. Azimuth we're going to make that 0. And the method we're going to use is angles and distance, which would be normal for shooting points. Okay, so now I'm going to sight onto a particular point. If I click on this button here, I can turn on the laser. So if I just move the camera, you may be able to see the laser on the wall. Now, as it says, if you're out in the field, you're going to set up using a prism instead of DR mode. So you'd hold your prism on top of a target and use that. Go measure. You can see it measuring there now. And if you go, it's just confirming. You can see the distance there is only 1.6 meters. I'm inside.
Station setup completed.
And you can hear the instrument now confirming that it is now set up. So you're now ready to start using the total station. So if you go survey again, now you can see these options have changed because we're now set up. So if you want to measure points, you go measure topo. In here it's given the point name 115 and you put in a code for the points. So if I'm going to shoot a few points onto a wall, so I'm going to put in wall. So you put in a code particular to what it is you're shooting. If it was natural ground, NG. If it was a line of curves, K, etc. And you go enter. You go measure.
Observation stored.
And you go store. And you're storing the points. So you're now surveying. Move to instrument. Measure. Store. Now I'm in DR mode at the moment. If I want to switch to using a target, you can do that. Just switch to target and shoot the target, and you see that's changed there. Some other cool things you can do is you can use the laser, turn that on and off. If you hit track, it gives you a continuous readout here of the distance, which could be handy. And you can store points really quickly. If you hit map, you can go into a map view. You can zoom around here, zoom in. There are the points that I've shot, and you can hit measure in here and survey points as well. You can see here this red line. And that red line indicates the direction which the instrument is looking at in the moment. So if I move, you can see that red line is moving. Let's escape out of that. Let's escape out of this. I will turn off that. Turn off that. Alright, so that's survey mode, measure topo. What if we want to set out some points? You go into stakeout. You have a few different options here. The most common way is go points. Right, and in here you input the points that you want to set out. So you need to add points to this. So you go add, and you can. There's a load of ways you can put points into the instrument. If I go all points, in this particular job I'm in at the moment, these are all the points that I've already surveyed. So if I want to relocate one of those and set it out, if you just click on a point, you see now it's giving me directions back to that point. Here on the side, and more info here. And as I move, now I'm on the point, accept. So that's stakeout. There's other ways you can input. You could manually type in the points into this as well. Stakeout points. Add using one of these. Okay, the next thing I want to do is have a look at exporting the information from the total station. So we've done our job, we've finished our survey, there's the job name up there, and we want to export this now and upload it on the computer. So to do that, we go Files, Import Export, and go Export Fixed Format Files. Now the handy thing about this particular machine is that we can directly plug a USB stick into the side. So no messing around taking the total station back out of the box and plugging it into your computer back in the office. Very handy. So we go Export Fixed Format Files and this is the default file type .csv or .txt. That'll open up in Excel or Notepad, so that's okay. And you can also open that up in AutoCAD Civil 3D. There's the name. You can change that now if you wish. If you click on this little button on the side, you can select where you want to save it to. Hard disk 2 is the USB stick that I have plugged in, so that's okay. Click on that, go Accept, and we want to save all the points in the survey, so we'll go All Points, and that's that file now transferred to the USB.